Hello everybody, I am Nikki, I'm from Grace's house, I'm in the UK and I'm coming to you on the Paint Couture page, can get my words out, and both on Instagram and on Facebook. So I'd love you, if this is working, I can't see anyone's come on yet, I'm hoping this is working okay. Anyone that comes on and watch it, I can see people, lovely. I just like the trigger, I like to know that it's working. So as you're coming along and say hello, come online and watching, just drop us a hello. That would be awesome. So a little while ago, I was working on a piece. It's actually for Redesign with Prima. Good morning, Patricia. But there was a lot of people interested in the finish that I created. So it had a ballet dancer on the front and we were working on like a black, hi Misty, we were working like a black faux leather type of finish. So, and there was a few requests to do a tutorial. So that's what we're gonna work on today. So Instagram people, if anyone's watching, it does say that I'm live. I can't see anybody watching, but we'll just go with it. Right, so this is the cabinet I have to work on. The door is missing. This is the door here. So I'm not sure what kind of age this is, but look, this is the trims and thing. How gorgeous. I've painted one coat of black on the front of the door already. Good morning, Christine, if I haven't said that already. Sorry if I'm repeating myself. So I've prepped it. I've given it a really good clean. This was so grubby. This has been found in a barn, I think. Good morning, Janice. So beautiful trims again. Now, when we get to this side of the cabinet, I've got a little bit more work to do. So it was obviously joined to something. Hi, Debbie. We've got holes and we've got some trims missing. So I'm not going to be doing anything on this side today because I've got some work to do, like I said. So I've got some holes to fill and I've got to try and match this trim. So I've bought some product in the hopes that I can create an extra moulding and then cast that in resin. That's the plan anyway. So it had a really, really good clean. It was filthy. I can't even tell you. I didn't even want to photograph the colour of the water that came off this. Grim. And we've given it a lovely scuff sand. I've wiped it down again so there's no dust and hoovered it off and then wiped it, should I say. So you don't want any dust on your piece because you don't want your paint sticking to the dust. So it's really, really important that stage, if you do your scuff sanding, that you want to get rid of that dust. So I'm going to start on here. We're going to get one coat of black on this side, and the temperature that we've got, finally we've got nice weather. It doesn't take long to dry at all. So I'm going to give that a good shake. I've already had this open and stirred it this morning, so I'm just giving it an extra shake now. I've already got my black brush out. I'm using the Blue Ice. This is the short. It's interesting actually, I've discovered I've got long and short, and I'm going to show you the difference. So on the description, it says long handle and short handle on the oval brushes. I'm going to show you the difference. It's not the handle. It's not the handle. So this is the short handled. This is the long handled. It's not the handle. It's the bristles. So if you're used to something that's got a little bit more movement and flexibility, then the longer, it's called long handled. It's not, it's the bristle length. This one's a lot stiffer. So it really just depends on, you know, maybe what you're doing or your preference, your personal preference. Rhonda, good morning, watching from Spokane, Washington. Morning, Debbie as well. So let's crack on and we'll get some paint on, and then where I've done the door, we can start working on the door with the technique. So I'm just going to lay down a black base just to get a base on so that when we do work towards our technique, I really like this brush for it's good when you just want to get one colour on pretty quickly. It holds a nice amount of paint. It's that typical blue ice, beautiful thin filaments on the end, so it's great for working towards that no brush stroke finish. And it sort of gets into all those nooks and crannies as well of those trims quite nicely. I mean, when I did the door this morning, it was really just to get a layer of paint on, but I have to say, hi Barb, the coverage is pretty fantastic. It's not totally complete coverage, but it's so close. It's so close. Really brilliant. So I'm just getting into all those, like I said, all those trim details. It's even got these trims on the bottom. Aren't they fantastic? I mean, I would have absolutely no hope trying to match them anywhere these days. It's got a real gothic feel to it, I think, this cabinet. As soon as I saw it, it just screamed to me that it needed to be black, but I wanted to do something a bit more interesting with you guys than just black, of course. So I thought this was a good option. I've got a feeling I'm not sure if Instagram's working today for us. I still haven't seen anyone pop up on Instagram, which is unusual. We usually have a few. So I'm not sure what's going on there. If you've got any questions, I will do my best as usual. I think I'm on my own today. I think our time difference and the ever lovely Helen, she's had a very busy time just lately, so she's not been able to join us, unfortunately. Barb, I missed the beginning. Is that the colour your new mix? No, Barb, we're not. I think you mean squid ink, which I haven't actually used on a whole piece. But just to let you guys know, when I do those mixes, I'm not just guessing. I do mix them to make sure they're even a nice colour before I post them. And then obviously the artworks, I have to just get as close as I can. So I'd love one of those scanners. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? But no, this is just Baltic black, Barb. And I'm going to be working on that kind of faux leather finish that I did before, but I didn't do a live on. But there was a few requests, so I thought this cabinet would be the perfect opportunity to do that. Okay. So I'm literally just giving, like I said, I'm going to get this first coat on, then while we work on the door, Margaret, isn't it gorgeous? And these 5 shelves in there. I mean, it's so, I love a shelf. And it, just, can imagine actually that having, you could maybe take the middle ones out and have it as a vodka cabinet. Valerie, this black is from Paint Couture. It is indeed. Baltic black is Paint Couture. You're on the Paint Couture page. And I'm Nikki from Gracie's house. Valerie, you know me, don't you? So yes, this is Paint Couture. So we have quite a lot of ridges and things on our trim, so I'm just going at it from all angles to get those covered. But I don't know if you can see already, this patch here, already dry while we're going along. Cheers to that. Michelle, did I sand it down before staining? I'm not staining it, my lovely, I'm painting it, but yes, absolutely, I gave it a very, very good clean. It'd been in a barn for, I'm not even going to take a guess at how long, but it was filthy. So it had a really, really good clean, lots of rinsing with water until it ran as clear as I thought it was going to, and then it's had a scuff sand over the entire piece. Really and truly, there are paints out there that will claim that they are no prep, but if you're doing up furniture to sell on, there is no such thing as no prep. If you're happy to do that in your own house, that's up to you, but if you're selling your piece, you never know how somebody's going to treat a piece, and you want to be safe in the knowledge that your finish is going to stand up to hopefully everything that new family will throw at it. Okay, so we nearly finished that side. Those long bits there. Okay, just a bit. But that's not too much of an issue because this is just our first coat and we're going to do some more fun effects afterwards. Does Paint Couture block odours? Janice, no. There is a stain blocking primer. Do you know what? I'm going to actually have to check on that. There's not a primer within this paint, but we have Sure Prep. That we have a bonding primer and we have a stain blocking primer. But do you know what? You flustered me there because I'm not sure about odours. And Helen's not here to help me out there either. Oh, you monkey, you've asked me something I don't know. We'll find out and I'll answer for you. Valerie, come back later, no problem. Okay, so we've got our first coat over. I don't really want to go over any of this that I've already done. It's started drying. I don't want to create a problem. If you overwork your paint, that's when you'll start to see Janice, don't worry. That's when you'll start to see brush marks, and it's drying so quickly. I'm going to leave it there. Let's move on to the door and then we can work on the actual technique side of things. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to spin it round so I can lean the door against the back. So I'm all taped up. So what I tend to do is if there is any, just so that, I just like to tape them up so they can go around there. Sometimes you get pieces that smell like cigarettes. Yes. Shelley, good morning. The other thing to do is, I've heard all sorts of things actually with regards to smells. You can use, I know it's going to sound strange, baking soda, cat litter. I've heard of wiping things down with vodka. Cheap vodka is supposed to be brilliant for odours. And also some of those salves that you can get that, I can't think of the wise owl type salves that have got a scent that will cover those things up as well. They're all options. Okay, so here's the door. So you see it's got the same trim. We're looking, you know, basically at the same piece. So I have got Madagascar Mocha, and we're gonna be layering. Now this is where we don't need to worry so much about whether we've got whether we're creating texture. In a way, we want to create a little bit of texture. I don't want to add texture with an additive like the embossing medium or crust, because I don't want that much texture. It's more of a visual texture that we're looking for here. So I'm going to get my other little short bristled oval, and I'm going to have my black, and we're kind of going to be adding paint with both colours as we go along, and it's going to be a blend of sorts. You find washing the piece with TSP works? Yeah, yes, Barb, agreed. I use, you know, any kind of degreasing cleaner is very, very good. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to create the leather texture here. I'm looking at these panels is where I want to create it. So similarly, when I was doing that chest of drawers before, I did it on the top and we did it on the side panels, and then the front had the decoupage paper. So I'm going to be creating it through here, and literally the motion you want to do is a dabbing motion, and that will give you a little bit of texture. It won't give you masses. I can tell you this now, when I was doing it before, it actually is incredible how good the self-leveling is with this paint. And it's too, I'm just going to put a bit more in there because I can see some bits that I've missed. It's too tempting to just go into your normal motion. So this is very much a dabbing, and with a decent amount of paint. You don't scrimp on this because it's the amount of paint that you use that will be creating that texture. And you can just keep on reworking this, and because you're not worried about brush strokes, you're not doing this motion, you're doing this dabbing, you can just create and rework it as many times as you like until you're happy. So I'm going to start putting my Madagascar Mocha in the middle. It's too like growing muscles. Hi Erin. I'm not going to be keeping that in the middle, but I want it to be lighter in the middle. So I'm getting it in there, but I'm going to be dabbing and mixing and just creating a real mix and a blend. But again, we talk about all these different methods and ways of blending. Sorry about that tapping noise, it's annoying. And this is just another way of creating texture for you. That's my black brush, getting the right brushes. So you see where I'm just dabbing it a little bit in the Mocha, and I'm bringing it down because I don't want it to be that light colour, but we need that colour in there to give us some depth. So it's quite it gives you quite a sort of painterly finish. Patricia, sorry, miss what colour? So we've got Baltic Black and then Madagascar Mocha is the tone in the middle. So it's the darkest of the sort of brown tones within Paint Couture. I have a chocolate brown on my list to mix. So anyone that's after a chocolate brown, it is something I'm going to be working on very soon. And I'm just going to keep adding black. That's probably all I need to add on the Madagascar Mocha. Just making sure I haven't got too much texture going on to those trims, because like I said, I just want this to almost look like it's leather inserts rather than the whole piece. Spread that out a little bit, and like I said, you just keep working it. You don't, it doesn't matter. If you came back to this, if you did this and you weren't happy with it, you could just keep building on it, and actually all that would do would be to increase the texture, so it would work really nicely. And the other thing that I did use to create some depth on that other piece was some sort of dark bronzy waxes. But you can you go in and do those bits after you're satisfied with the paint that you've done. So I'm just going to go right the way across that Mocha now. As I said, I don't want that to be so obvious in the middle. I'm just creating what have I got here? I'm going to move it out a little bit. Just a tiny bit. And I'm just going to keep tapping away. It's so annoying, that noise. So annoying. I'm going to put that brush down. And it's giving a little bit of a sort of a grey where we've got that mix. I like that. I don't mind that either. But I can even see where there's some patches down here that have dried. I can already see that it's starting to, it's just constantly trying to self-level this paint, which is great in so many ways. Go in with my black and get some more up into this area up here because we haven't added our... So can you see how it's a little bit cloudy, a little bit moody? It makes me think of Peaky Blinders. Anyone that's seen Peaky Blinders, it's all very sort of moody and all set around the coal. Erin, you like the texture. It's fab, isn't it? It's fab and it's subtle. And I just want to get those sort of really lighter pieces out of the way. Just keep on adding and building. You could do it with the grey, you could do it with shale stone, that would be lovely. Rhonda, do I use a mister bottle to keep your paint moving? Very rarely with Paint Couture. I don't really, if I'm doing a if I really want a really smooth blend, I do, but so like beyond sparingly. It doesn't have to be dripping wet like other chalk paint brands. So I do use a little bit. But no, and for something like this, like I said, because we're looking for texture, you kind of want to use, you want it to be drying as you're working on it, because that will add to your, constantly add to your texture. In actual fact, the weather that we've got today, like I said, it's really warm for a change, and it's great because it's starting to dry up. Like I can see down here, there's patches where it's drying already, and that's great because when I do go back over them, it will create even more depth and texture, which is what we want. For this particular piece, that's what I want. So you're adding shale stone would be lovely to this. I haven't actually brought that down because I wanted to go more the kind of brown route, but actually I'm loving how it's coming together. It's super subtle. So I'm hoping you can see, I think you can see the texture on the screen there. I'm going to add a little bit more into sort of random areas and then go back in with my black. So this is my Mocha I've got again. So it's tiny, tiny bits. Tiny bits. And then it almost looks like I'm going back in to cover it up. Janice, cold and overcast, north. Oh no. He's just tried phoning. He knows this is my time. He's a monkey. Yeah, we've had really terrible weather. For May, May's been awful. Doesn't get it. Okay, so how are we feeling about that so far? Let's just pop my brush down and see if I can. So can you see, there you go, if I tilt it you can really see the texture, can't you? And just that lighter, as it dries, there you go, at that angle you can really see where I've created that almost like a vignette. So we've got it lighter in the middle and then it will be darker around the edge. But it's random. I'm not looking for a really obvious shape in the middle. I'm not going for a round shape in that middle section. I want it to be random. Leather is random. So I'm going to turn the door up the other way and work on the bottom panel. Because again, it doesn't need, it's random. I don't need it to be up the right way. So I'm just going to pop a bit more black underneath there, which I'd missed when I painted it this morning. So we're very excited this week. We've had the landscapers in and they're finishing up for the day today because we're having a new patio put down and it's so exciting. Am I going to use transfers on this piece? And what's my favourite brand of transfer? Rhonda, full disclaimer, I'm a brand ambassador for Redesign with Prima. So in my world, all others pale into existence. Redesign with Prima are the best. Sorry guys if I lost you there. So on this piece, I'm not going to do transfers, Rhonda. I feel this needs to be moody and a little bit masculine. I just feel like that's the way to go on this. What I have got out is to put on the inside of the door panels. I've got a decoupage paper. Let me grab that. Hold on a sec. I'm not going to be doing this today, but I will give you a little show of what my plan is. So this is a Redesign with Prima decoupage paper, and this is the one I plan to put on the inside. Ooh, pretty. How lovely is that? So that's going to be on the reverse of the door. That's going to be in those panels because, as I said, I really just want it to be mostly, yeah, Erin, it's lush, isn't it? Mostly masculine. So I've picked the decoupage paper that will continue that theme, but give it a tiny, tiny hint. Again, it just feels a little bit Peaky Blinders and a little bit gorgeous on the inside. Okay. Susan, it's lovely, isn't it? Rhonda, yes. There's another one that's, when that one was released, there's another one that's like a lighter finish, but the pattern is black. I quite like that one too, but I just think it needs to be the black and moody one that I'm going to use for this. So I'm hoping that while I'm doing this, the other panel will be dried or drying so that I can show you how that looks once dry. That's the plan anyway. Janice, you like that paper too? I think it's the perfect partner for this cupboard. I feel like it's the right thing to do. I do feel like this has got a gothic feel about it, and I kind of want to be sympathetic to that. I do try to do that. I do try to let the pieces speak to me about what kind of just how they speak to me, and how this straight away said black. I thought this was going to be black, so black it is. But we needed to put a little twist on it, not just black. And anyone that watched last week's live, I've just posted he's left me. I've seen he's had 2 voicemails pop up. He's not considered the time. He's going to get such a telling off later, like you wouldn't believe. I'm just hoping every time he phones, it doesn't cut you guys off. I don't know if it does that or not. So I'm doing exactly the same principle over here. We're going to take some of that Madagascar Mocha out. I'm taking the black over the Mocha as well. I want the black, true black around the edges. And I want that mocha to be a subtle. Yeah, Rhonda, very steampunky, isn't it? That kind of gothic. Yes, definitely. Leather, masculine. That's a bit better. It's not rattling. It's the one thing that annoys me about doing this technique is the noise. I was telling you about our patio. We're so excited. I think they've knocked off for the day. They look like they've tidied up and gone. Because they've got to a point now where they need to leave it be, and they need to let it all the slabs dry where they've I'm going to say cemented them in. That's not the right terminology, but you know what I mean. That needs to dry now before you can walk on it, so they kind of can't do anything else. So I'm going to get a little bit of my mocha and bring it down. Again, I'm kind of looking at random patches. Leather is random, so we stick to that formula. Oh, I'm going to show you in a minute the other end. It's looking nice. So this is what I did for that piece, so that everybody wanted to see the technique. It's a relatively simple one, simple and effective, and then when you go in and layer waxes on it as well, it really brings out the depth in the paints, because you're creating depth here anyway, and then when you go on with some rusty sort of metallic-y waxes, it enhances what you've done already beautifully. Let's just get rid of that really mocha piece in the middle and stop with the annoying noises. Dabbing. It wouldn't surprise me if you put all your volume down. I want to put earphones in. I don't want to hear this noise. It's annoying. I'm having to look at it all from different angles, because when I look at it kind of dead on, I can't see the colours so much because it's shiny where it's wet. So you need to keep constantly looking at this from different angles when you do this. Okay, let's leave that there for now, for a moment. Everybody's still with me? I don't think my husband's cut everybody off. The blending reminds you of papers from Grace on Broadway, Katerina. Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not really familiar with that brand. So I will take your word for it. I mean, I know the brand, but I'm not familiar with the full range. Okay, just make sure I've not got any sort of blobby bits of paint on those trims, because I want those nice and smooth. And the top panel is almost dry, and look, you can still see where those little wet pieces are, can't you? But look, can you see? I'm hoping. Yeah. I'm tilting it in all the directions so that you can. And I don't want to stop you guys. So anyway, there we go. So we're looking pretty much Judith, which am I using? I'm using the 1.5 inch oval brushes with the short filaments because they're nice and they're nice and firm. I can't show you. So that's the long filament one, and that's the short filament one. So They're a bit more sturdy. These ones are more, there's more flexibility in the filaments. For this purpose, this is brilliant. Okay, so that's that piece. We're doing pretty well with time, aren't we, really? But that's the technique that we're going for. And like I said, we'll be adding in some waxes. I might work on that chocolate blend and do some more work in here. I'm not sure. I actually quite like it as it is. I wanted it nice and subtle. Just seeing some bits sitting there. I'll do around that door handle while I'm here. We could. Do you need me to show you that bit again? Stunning, a practice technique on a spare board, Margaret. That is always a good idea. But like I said, because we're about creating texture, even if you didn't you tried it, you weren't really sure you liked it, it doesn't matter, because you can paint over, and adding layers upon layers is only going to give you more texture doing this technique. So, do you need to see me doing any more of this? Do you think that's enough to kind of give you an idea of how you would create this look on your own piece? I can do it again on another, if we go back to the side that I painted one layer on. Let's see how that's coming along. I'm going to do this on the top as well, but obviously for this purpose. Ruth, you're signing on late, but you'll watch replay. Yes, worth the replay for sure. So there we go, that's dry. Look how smooth that is. These brushes are awesome. So you saw I wasn't, really working towards a brush-free finish, brush-stroke-free finish, because I'm creating texture on it. But can you see how amazing this paint is at self-leveling? You really can see how smooth that is. And that's just one coat. So amazing coverage. Okay guys, I think we'll probably leave it there, because you don't want to hear that noise, that tappity tappy tap tap noise is annoying. I hope that's inspired you. I hope that's given you an insight into how I created my faux leather effect on that chest of drawers previously. And I hope that inspires you to give it a go on something. And I look forward to seeing your creations using these techniques on the showcase group on Facebook. That would be cool. If you haven't already, pop over to Gracie's house, give my page some love as well, and I will see you here this time next week. Thanks guys, bye.